Hi everyone, welcome to episode 59 of the arieknits podcast. My name is Ariel and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting and spinning on in the past week. So today it is Saturday, January 27th, and I'm finally back on a normal schedule, I think, hopefully for the near future anyway. The past couple episodes have been filmed on different days, different times, uploaded at different times, but I still have things to share, so I wanted to share them anyway, even if it wasn't kind of on my regular schedule. But hopefully we are back on a more normal schedule. Thank you all for being here today, and yeah, let's get started. So I have no finished objects this week, which is totally fine. I have just the same works in progress that I've shown in the past couple videos, so no new cast-ons either. I'm feeling pretty good about that because that means I'm getting stuff done on the things that I already have. And I have some small spinning updates, nothing finished again for the spinning, but just continuing the spinning. And I do have one small acquisition to share, and I have some fun life updates, not really updates, but just fun chats. I have some ice skating stuff I want to talk about, and that'll be all at the end. So if you're not interested, you can always just leave after I talk about the yarn stuff. So let's get started with what I am wearing today. It is the Dopo Sweater by Seunghee, and if you watched last week's video, I talked about it as my new cast-on / finished object because I finished it in a little less than a week actually, but it was not blocked in last week's video. And I finally blocked it, and I am wearing it so you can see it on me, and I absolutely love it. It is even better blocked. I knew that it would, or not I knew, I had a feeling that it would grow just slightly after blocking because it is a very kind of like bulky weight yarn because it's 3 strands held together, and I'll talk about the yarn in detail soon, but it is 3 strands held together, and so it is a bigger knit. And so usually, at least for me, those kinds of knits do kind of block out slightly and grow a little bit, but the way that this blocked was so amazing. I love the fit even more because I did wear it before I blocked it because I loved it, blocked it, and I wore it again. I'm wearing it now, and I love it so much. So yes, let's get into the details. First, the yarn I used for this was, as I said, 3 strands. So one was La Bien Aimee Merino Twist in Nymeria, and that's a fingering weight yarn. The second yarn is Sewrella yarn Cashmere Sock in the colorway Nolita, which is another fingering weight yarn. And then the third strand I use is Autumn and Indigo Fibers Suri Silk in the colorway Rosewood, which is a lace weight. So I held all of those together. It created this really pretty fabric and kind of marled yarn because the Nymeria colorway is the speckly part, so any speckles you see on here are pretty much from the Nymeria, but it was kind of more on a white yarn base, and the Sewrella Nolita was more of a pink variegated, and so that provided the pink, and then the Suri was a pretty solid or like tonal pink, which gives that overall wash of pink. And I absolutely love how it came out. I am currently wearing it with some green sweatpants, and I feel like there's some little green specks in here, or yeah, I'm trying to find like maybe a good one, but there's some green in there, so I feel like that kind of makes it look really cute. I love a pink and green color combination, and so yeah, it just makes me very happy. I made size 1. I used US 7 and US 10 needles, which I believe is the recommended needles for this pattern. And I got final measurements after blocking 35 inches in circumference, and so that gives me 5 inches of positive ease. I will stand up again so you can see the fit. This is what that looks like on me. I think it is the perfect amount of positive ease for my personal preference. And I just, the fit on this is absolutely amazing. And, okay, maybe we start from the top down while we discuss this. It is a top-down raglan sweater, but the collar is picked up later and done, and it's folded. I really like how this collar sits on me and where it's placed. I prefer to not have collars, like if they're kind of like right up at my neck. I don't really like that, so the way that it's placed right now is perfect. It is cozy, but not like overwhelmingly like choking me, if that makes sense. Like I think, there's just something, it's like the perfect placement, I think, for me, for my preference. And look how pretty that compound raglan is. So it increases and decreases for the body and the sleeves at different rates throughout, and so that's how it gets that curve on the front and the back of the sweater. And I love just like how that looks, and it fits really nicely right in this area. The sizing for like where that armhole is good and comfortable, and the sleeve length, I prefer a longer than wrist sleeve, and that's exactly what this pattern gives me, like right here, so that it has maximum cozy, like, you know, rolled up kind of feeling, and the shaping of the decreases on the sleeves is like the perfect amount. Nowhere is too baggy or too tight. The sleeves are a rib sleeve cuff, and it's perfect for, I love sweaters that allow me to roll up the sleeves and for them to stay so that I can do this and for them to not fall off or like to fall down. So it is just overall a great sweater. I'm very happy with it. I want to make more in different color combinations. And when I first made this, I made it very quickly because it was very cold in Seattle at that time, and I knew that this was a bulkier weight sweater, and so I wanted to make sure I had the opportunity to wear it when it was really cold. So that is when I wore it before I blocked it. Then the weather started to get a little warmer, like 40s, 50s degrees Fahrenheit, and I was unsure how this would feel on. And although when I wear this, I'm usually like indoors, and according to the like thermometer thing inside, it says it's like maybe 71, 73 degrees in here. So right now I am wearing it, and I actually wore it today. I also went outside today. I don't know what temperature it was this morning, but it was raining here in Seattle, but I wore this, and then I wore just like a thin rain jacket over, and it was perfectly comfortable. It was not too hot. And I'm wearing this right now indoors, and you know, I think if I was like moving around, if I was like cleaning and vacuuming, I'd probably get kind of sweaty in this, but I have just been kind of chillaxing at home, and it's pretty comfortable. So I want to see how long. I love this sweater. I'm going to wear it as long as I can until it's like too unbearably hot to wear, but I think that it's not bad temperature comfort wise to be wearing, at least here in Seattle, on just like a normal day. So I think part of the reason it doesn't feel as hot as I thought it would, and I think it's because the gauge is actually, if you look at the fabric, it's not super dense, and so I think, you know, that helps with the drape. It drapes really nicely because it's not too dense of a fabric. So I definitely think it depends on your yarn combination, your gauge, and all of that. But I think that this yarn combination is a winning combination. So, I love it so much. So that is the Doppio sweater. I don't think I can I can talk about it enough to share how much I love it because I'm just obsessed with it, really. So yeah, that's a Doppio sweater, and that's what I'm wearing today. Okay, moving on to my works in progress, my whips for this week. So let's talk about my Mackenzie by Sari Nordlund, because this is, if you've been watching from my previous videos, this is the thing that has been on my needles for a good amount of time. I think it's been a few months already, maybe even longer than that. It's a long-term project for me, and this is a shawl or a scarf, however you'd like to call it, and I've made progress. So this is my stitch marker from last week. So as you can see, I was just about finished with this third garter stitch stripe, and so I finished that up and I started the fourth one, the last one right here on my right side. So we've got a few inches in of this wonderfully squishy two-color brioche, and let me see if we can get this full thing in here now. It's looking like a real scarf now, like a very long thing. So I just I don't know, I'm hoping for the weather to get colder now so I can actually wear it. Wow, actually that's very cute. That's very cute. I like that. Okay. I needed that as motivation to keep going on this. So, as I said, I'm on the fourth stripe. So, if you can see, these stripes are pretty long. Like, I can, here, there is from this end, 1 and 2, 3, and there's the fourth one starting right up here, and so we're on the last stripe. So we're almost done. We're almost done. I am not worried about getting this done. I'm not worried that I won't finish it this year. It's still January, it's end of January, but this will get done. And because I've been in general getting some of it done every week, and so as long as I keep doing that, we should be good. But I will say I'm getting a little bit done with this project. I really like it. I know I will like the finished object, but it's been a lot of knitting. So there's so many other scarves and shawls that I want to make, but I'm telling myself to finish this one before I cast on any new ones. So, okay, yarn for this is Olivia and Oliver Fibers Classic Sock in the colorways Feather, which is the white speckled side, and Woodland, which is this brown variegated speckled side. I really like both sides, although I do think that the white side kind of pops a little bit more with the stripe. But, as you wear it, you'll see both sides. I really like it. This is a one size pattern, although I think once you get the idea of what the pattern is and how you make the diagonal stripe and all of that, you can basically make it to whatever size you want. You can cast on different number of stitches and you can probably figure it out. So I think that I don't know if I want to make another one of this anytime soon, because this has been a very long project for me. But if I ever feel like I want to make another one in a similar way, either shorter or maybe thinner, I think it'd be a good pattern to use or to make for a scarf that's like this. It is a two-color brioche, and so I think that the addition of the stripe makes it just that much more interesting to make than if it was just plain brioche. And so it does have that going for it, but yeah, it's just very long, but also it's going to look so good and feel so squishy with it being extra long. So yeah, it's just, again, this is a project where I would just show hopefully every week and the small amount of progress I make on it, but we're making progress, and that is always good. All right, next up is my Calm Down Cardigan by Lily Kate France. And I've made good progress on this. Let's show it. Okay, I finished a sleeve. I finished the left sleeve, which is right here. I believe I forgot to move my stitch marker from last week, so I had to kind of guess where I started. So I think it was about here. So I did finish up my left sleeve. As you can see here, the cuff, it's a ribbed cuff, and it is quite long. It's a very, like, from here to here is the entire cuff. But interestingly, there are decreases. So there's sleeve decreases, as most sleeves have, but there's also decreases in the cuff, which I thought was very interesting. So far, I like the fit of this. I did try it on to make sure that the sleeve length was good. I made no modifications for the sleeve. I just did the same, like whatever the decrease amount was, I did the sleeve cuff, and I like the fit. So yeah, so it's good there. I've picked up for my second sleeve, I finished the short row shaping for like the sleeve cap section, and now we are on to knitting the decreases on the sleeve. This is the underarm right here. So we're on the second sleeve. It's the last sleeve. It's the last part to knit for this cardigan, and so I'm feeling very good about being almost done with this cardigan. Interestingly, I just, like maybe 2 rows ago on this, my second sleeve, connected another ball of yarn. Oh, yarn for this. Woolberry Fiberco Berry DK in the colorway Rabbit Rump. And I'm making size 1. I'm using US 4 and US 5 needles for this. But yes, so I just connected this ball of yarn to finish off this sleeve, and it did not take me an entire ball of yarn to finish a sleeve, so I will probably be done before, I will use most of this, I think, but I will have leftovers when I'm done with this. When I'm done knitting the sleeve, I'll have leftovers of this ball of yarn, and I still have one more full skein left, so I don't know. That would be interesting. Which maybe is good, because I was like, wow, that's a lot of yarn for this cardigan. But I think I will have one full skein left. Unless I'm missing knitting something on this cardigan, but I don't think I am, because I did the button band. And the whole body's done. So, but yeah. I mean, it's always good. It's better than running out of yarn, especially for a hand-dyed yarn that you can't get more of. So, yeah, feeling good. I want to get this done so that I can wear it. I feel that's like everything I knit, though. I just can't wait to finish it so I can wear it. But that is the progress on my Calm Down cardigan. I do not have buttons picked out for this yet, but I think we have time. I have time to figure out what buttons I'm going to use for this, because I would like for it to be pretty cute. There's 3 buttonholes, so I would just need 3 buttons, and I would like for them to be kind of big. Like, because, actually, let me show you the button holes here. They're like on the bigger side of buttons for sure, and so I would like to have some cute big ones. So anyway, yeah, something to think about while I finish knitting this up. But it's going well, and I'm very happy with how it's coming out and how it's looking. All right, so that is my Calm Down cardigan. I've got some progress on my Eun Sweater by NovemberKnits, and let me show you where I'm at. I think I split for sleeves last time we talked. Oh, this is the back. This is the front. And as you can see, I've finally started the 2x2 ribbing for the sweater. And I think last time I said I was probably, because it happens pretty close after the join in the round for the body. Like, you don't knit that much. And all I did, I was trying to figure out when I should start the ribbing for the body, and I decided to just go with the pattern recommended length before you do the ribbing. And so that is it measured from the collar to wherever you're knitting on the body. So from the back, center back. So I just use those measurements, and usually especially for a new pattern to me and a new designer to me, if I am not sure how to modify the pattern or to figure out where to, start either, decreasing or split or something, I will go to the pattern measurements, just so that, unless I know for sure that it's not going to work out for me, I usually default to doing what the pattern recommends. And that way, I know that I don't usually make things twice, but if I really like something and I want to modify it the next time, I will have at least like a baseline of like, this is what the instructions said to do, and I know that I didn't like that, so I know next time, like if something was too long and I knit it to the pattern instructions, I'll know next time to make it shorter than what the pattern says, versus if I make all these modifications while I'm making the pattern the first time, I might also mess up something else from the pattern, if that makes sense. So I think, everyone does it in their own way, and for me, I just tend to default to just what the pattern says if I'm like on the fence about something. So anyway, I decided to start the ribbing at whatever length before starting the ribbing the pattern said. That's all I'm trying to say. And yeah, so this is the front. As you can see, the back is on hold right now, and I've only worked maybe like an inch of it, but I'm starting to see it come to life. Do you see it? And I'm very excited for it and to see it and to try it on. Right now, I'm in an awkward spot with my yarn because I just finished. I have this much left of my, yarn. I'm using Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Natural DK, which is a non-superwash DK, plus Berry Suri, both in the colorway Stash, and I'm holding them together. But I have this much left on the current skein that I had working for the DK yarn, and I still have a whole bunch of Suri. I still have more skeins, but since I usually like to work on the body of a sweater until I run out of yarn, and then I move on to finish the sleeves and then go back to the body. So I'm thinking about switching to working on the sleeves now. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm curious to see how the sleeve shaping, if there is sleeve shaping. I didn't even look at the sleeve instructions yet, but what the sleeve instructions are, because this armhole looks quite large. I don't know why I've been so kind of like focused in on sleeve or like armhole depth on sweaters. I've been very like, I don't like it when they're too big. Like the Doppio, great sleeve armhole depth. I like it. This one looks like it might be kind of big. Could be because the raglan for this is very huge, very long before you connect to the body. So we'll just see. We'll see how it turns out. But besides all of that, the fabric that this is making is gorgeous. I really like it. A DK plus Suri is a very squishy, soft fabric, and so I'm excited for that. And I also think the color is looking really good. I love it. It's like a reddish brown, so it's making me feel very happy. I got this yarn from the Woolberry Rewind in January last year, so it's been like a year since I've ordered this yarn, and that I've been having dreams on what it could be. And so I'm happy that it's finally kind of like coming to life. So, oh, if you haven't seen one of my previous videos where I talk about my goals for 2024, one of them is to use all of the yarn that I bought from Woolberry's Rewind in 2023, because I didn't knit with any of the yarn that I bought from the Rewind, and I bought all of the colors, so like one per month pretty much last year. And so I thought it would be fun to try and use all of them up this year. So this is the first one. I was hoping to get one project done every month to keep with that cadence so that I could get them all done in the year. And I know we're at the end of January and this is not done yet, but it's like almost halfway, I would say. And it is a whole sweater. I did not get sweater quantities of all of the colors, and so even if this one takes me a while, I could like make up some time with some of the smaller projects of skeins that I got from the Rewind. So, and I am not going to buy all of the yarn from the Rewind this year from Woolberry, just because I really want to go through my stash and use up what I have, unless there's a color. Like, only if there's a color that I absolutely feel like I have to have and don't have, I will probably buy. But last year I wanted to buy all of the Rewind colors, and this year that is not the plan. So yeah, so that's the plan and current update of one of my goals. So yeah, I was thinking maybe informally I would, towards the end of the month or beginning of a month, talk about how my goals are going so far for the year. So yeah, I don't want to make me feel pressured by it, but when it does come up, I'd like to just do a little check-in on how I'm doing on my goals, since this is the first year that I like officially have some knitting goals that I want to get done. So yeah, so that is my Eun sweater. Oh, I love that I started the ribbing, because that's really the detail that I really liked about this sweater. All right, and then I only have one more project to talk about, knitting project to talk about, and that is my Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose Knits, and we've made progress. Here's what I have so far, and if you haven't seen my previous video of me talking about my plans for this blanket, it is basically that I want to use the yarn that I got from the Pasley Knits 2023 Seasons boxes. So there were 4 Seasons boxes last year. Each of them, I got the sock sets, and so each of the seasons have 4 sock sets. So I would like to make a blanket that uses all the colors from it. And so, as you can see here, last week I had this done, and this was like one sock set, and I don't know if I even said like what the names of the colors were, but I will try to be better about that. So for this, also the tonal is the minis from the sock set, and the variegated is like the full skein, and then the kind of main color for the blanket is just a bare yarn. They're all fingering weight yarn, and so I'm holding it double to create a DK weight-ish yarn. And I am making 4 squares for each sock set, which is 2 squares per color. And I'm putting it in this kind of configuration. So this first one that I made is River Sunsets and Farm Fresh. And I believe that the first name on the label is the variegated yarn. I think my favorite seasons box might be the spring and the fall. I think spring and fall. And so right now I'm like loving all of these colors. And then so anyway, I did have this done in last week's video, and this time I got another sock set done. And this one is French Hydrangea and Duckling. I definitely assume Duckling is was the mini, the yellow, and French hydrangea is the variegated, which is also very pretty. And yeah, if you want to see the full skein here, that's that one. So altogether, this is what I have so far. I have 8 squares, and so far I've been doing basically like one sock set, or basically 4 squares every week. It's only been 2 weeks, but that seems to be my cadence right now, and so I will probably wind up my yarn for my next one. And I think what would be really fun is, my friends helped me with this. I was like, I don't know in what order I should put all of these squares in, but what I will do is the next 2 sock sets for the spring box, I will put up here, one up here, and one above this one, so that it'll create an entire square. So each season will have an entire square, a 4x4 square of squares. But yeah, that's what I have this week, and I really like how it's turning out. I very much like the construction. I think it is really smart. It's not too hard to do as long as you're pretty comfortable with increasing, decreasing, and short rows and picking up stitches, which kind of sounds like a lot, but I think a lot of those techniques are done if you make a lot of just a lot of other things. If you make sweaters, like this one is not too bad. I just think it's very smartly done and constructed, because each of the squares, if you haven't seen this pattern before, is done on a diagonal. So you actually start from here and you grow it this way and you knit it this way. So you're only working with one color at a time. And I think it's a great way to use up scraps, even though I'm not using scraps for this, but I just really like this idea to have all of these colors all in one project together. So yeah, it's been going well. I have been weaving in my ends after every square. And so you'll see, this is the back. I have no ends to weave in at the end because it's going to be too much. I think it's going to be, I will have an 8x8 square blanket. So that'll be 64 squares. And I don't want to weave in all the ends after that. So weaving in as you go, I think, is the right choice for this project because it's not too bad to do. Each square takes me a little over an hour to knit, which I guess it's kind of like knitting a gauge swatch. Does it really take that long to knit like a full-on, well, I think it's bigger than a gauge swatch, like a 4x4 inch gauge swatch, but because they look small. They look like, oh yeah, I can knit a square in like 5 minutes, but it does take me about an hour. I don't know if it's because of the increasing and decreasing that kind of slows you down because you do that. But anyway, yeah, this is what I have so far, and I really like it. I'm very happy with it, and I can't wait to see it grow. So I will try and see if I can stick to a 1 sock set per week cadence, because that means I have 16 sock sets. So if I do 1 per week, that's 16 weeks. That's like 4 months? Yeah, 4 months, which kind of feels like a long time, but it is a big blanket, so we'll give it its time. And it'll be fun, because every time I show it to you, hopefully there'll be some new colors added to the blanket. It won't just be like same old colors, which also, again, is fine, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that's the progress on my Sweet Shop blanket. Oh, I did change my square size for this. So it's because I had to, since my limiting factor here for yarn was the mini skein, I had to make sure that I could make 2 squares with the mini skein, so each one used up only half. So I did, they're not as big as the pattern says to make them, but it's very easy. The pattern does say what to do to make your square like smaller or bigger. Like it not in great detail, but it does kind of give you an idea on what you should do or what to do if your stitch count is slightly different than the pattern, and so it was very easy to modify. So my squares are just slightly smaller than the pattern says for the stitch count. But yeah, so that's my blanket so far. And that is all I have for my knitting updates, but I do have a couple spinning updates. I did spin a little more this week than I did last week, and so I feel pretty good about it. I am still working on the same projects. No finished spinning projects, no new spinning projects, but I will show you. I took this off of my wheel so I could show you. This is my Nest Fiber Club fiber in the Cassiopeia colorway, and it's a Targhee fiber, and I am doing a 2-ply fractal, and this is the second half. I'm not done with it yet, but I only have half an ounce left of the fiber to spin, and the whole thing was 4 ounces, so I am very close to finishing spinning this, and then I will ply it. I'm hoping to finish spinning this and plying it and washing it and doing all of that by next week. No pressure on myself to do it, but would be kind of nice to have this finished by next week. But I want to show you how pretty those colors are looking right now. And yeah, that's my quick update on that one. And I finally worked more on my sweater spin, which is the John Arbon Textiles Yarnadelic top fiber. It is 100% Falklands Corriedale in the colorway The Beautiful Ones, and I got about 700 grams of this fiber, which I know, I was like, wait, how much of that in ounces? Because usually the fiber seems to be measured in ounces versus grams, but I know when I got this, it said 700 grams on the package. But anyway, I did split it up into more doable chunks, and so I did split it up into ounces. I just can't do math on how many ounces I have, but I finished spinning 4 ounces of this fiber. My plan for this is to spin, I want to make a 3-ply, a traditional 3-ply of this fiber, and so I've tried to split it up into 6 different, I tried to split up the fiber into 6 different balls. I like to hold the fiber, like when I split it, I like to roll it up into fiber balls, so I have about 6, so that I will each have about, anyway, one of them is smaller than the other, but I'll deal with it later, but I will have 6, I'm planning on having 6 bobbins filled with fiber, and so this is my first one, so we've got 5 more to go, and I'm planning on, doing a 3-ply with them. But I only want to ply at the very end, once all of my singles are done being spun. So hopefully that way I'll get something that's a bit more consistent throughout everything, like all of it. So we will see how that goes, but it's still going to be some time until we get to the plying part of my sweater spin, but this is what I have. My first bobbin, my first 4 ounces of this fiber. And I will say, it has been very different. I don't know if I might have noticed it when sorry, I'm jumping around, but this is my first time with 2 spinning projects going on at the same time, so that I can switch between the spinning projects. Before, I just had 1 spinning project going at a time, but this time I have 2. Switching back and forth has been very interesting and kind of odd, or it just makes me realize how different fiber can feel depending on the fiber. So again, this one is Targhee, and this one is 100% Falklands Corriedale. I've spun with Corriedale before. I don't think it was Falklands Corriedale, but this one feels so soft compared to the other Corriedale that I spun. And compared to this, they both spin very differently. They feel so different. The Targhee definitely feels kind of stickier, a little bit like you do have to kind of pull on it because the fibers are kind of like sticking to each other, it's very, like, I guess kind of, there's like a crimp to it, I think. I could be wrong, but I think that that's what's happening. So when I draft it, when I'm pulling it to spin it to whatever diameter of the fiber I want, I feel like I have to pull it a bit harder. It's not like I'm trying to rip it. Like, it doesn't feel like that. But compared to this Falklands Corriedale, this one is so smooth and drapey. Like, I think if I were to hold just the fiber, the non-spun fiber, the Targhee is very stiff. Like, if I just held, I wish I had a piece of it, but if I had a piece of it, it's kind of stiff. But the Falklands Corriedale is very drapey. Like, it kind of reminds me of like a regular like wool yarn versus like an alpaca, or like, you know, like your normal standard wool yarn versus an alpaca yarn. The alpaca yarn is like very drapey and smooth, and I'm not saying this feels like alpaca, but it's that similar, like, the fiber just feels drapey and droopy. Makes sense? So yeah, when I went back to spin this, I was like, whoa, this fiber feels so different. But I'm hoping that it will create a really nice yarn and fabric. I did make a swatch. I did do a sample spin of part of the fiber, and I knit a swatch with it, and I loved it. And so I'm hoping that the end result of my actual like full-on spin will be just as good, or maybe better. We'll see. But yeah, these are my two spinning projects, and I'm hoping the sweater spin will take me a long time, over a course of, I don't know, probably a couple months, I would think, maybe even like 3 months. So it won't look any different besides that for a while, but I'll keep showing it to you just to tell you where I'm at on the sweater spin. But I'm hoping to get my nest fiber skein done pretty soon. Okay, then I have only one acquisition this week, and it is from Woolberry. This is some yarn that I bought last year. It was the December rewind. So I got 4 skeins of Berry Suri in the colorway Flower Crown. And I'm just trying to figure out which is the best way to show this. So here is Flower Crown. I think that I got Flower Crown on a different base before, but when the rewind happened, I wanted to get it on Suri, and so four skeins should be able to give me a sweater. Like, I think for me, 4 skeins of Suri should give me a sweater quantity. I think 5 is pretty safe, but the Woolberry Berry Suri base now has more yardage. It's slightly different than other Suris, and also different than her older Suri base. So I do think yardage-wise, 4 will give me like a cumulus blouse. But I have yet to knit with her new Suri base, and so I have nothing to say. I have no review on this new Suri base. I think it's supposed to mimic the mohair base a little more in terms of like actually being a lace weight and being over 400 yards per 50 grams, because the older Suri base, and I think like ExploreKnits Suri base is like 300 something yards for 50 grams. So, but yeah, I don't know what to say yet about this base as far as knitting with it or how it feels, because I haven't knit with it yet. But I probably should, so that I'm sure it's fine, and I will still probably buy it, but maybe if I hate it, I don't want to keep buying it. I'm sure it's fine though, like it feels fine. But yeah, I did get a Flower Crown. And since we were talking about goals, oh yes, my spinning goal for this year is to spin 4 ounces every month, at least 4 ounces every month, and I have surpassed that. I've already spun 4 ounces of my sweater spin. It is not plied yet, but we're not going to count plying as, well, do we? Because then it's actually done. But my sweater spin then won't count for anything because I'm going to ply them all at the end. We'll just count spinning singles as my spinning 4 ounces a month maybe. So I've already spun 4 ounces of my sweater spin. actually plus the 1 ounce that I spun for my sample of that fiber. And I guess I have 3.5 ounces done with my Targhee, my nest fiber Targhee, so we're good on that goal for the month of January. Over 4 ounces of spinning done. So that's exciting. For my stash goals, I want to use more yarn than I bring in, and this month definitely was a month of bringing in yarn, but it is because, and it was expected because I had a lot of yarn orders coming in from when I bought them last year. So like, for example, this Woolberry flower crown yarn I bought last year and it came in this year. I am counting it as coming in this year though, but I'm hoping that even though January was a lot of yarn coming in, I also did the yarn swap with my friends the other week, and I brought in a lot of yarn from that as well. But we've got a whole year left for me to use up the yarn, and I think I can. So we're feeling good. Oh, this may be a shock to you all. The McKenzie monochrome collection is amazing, and I love McKenzie. However, I'm trying to be strong and not order any yarn from this collection. The colors are beautiful, and I'm so excited for everyone who's going to buy yarn from this collection, but I am going to resist this collection because I have so much pretty yarn in my stash that I want to use. So yeah, I'm feeling a little sad, but I'm also feeling good, and I'm feeling strong in my decision for this. So yeah, so that is all of the yarn updates I have for you all this week. I have it's been a while since we've had a chat that wasn't about yarn, and I thought it'd be a good time just to talk because I didn't have too many new things to talk about this week. I think we have time. Are we on time? Yeah, we have some time. So if you don't know, besides working and knitting, I do have another hobby, and that is ice skating, and I don't really talk about it too much here just because I feel like I do the same thing. I skate 4 days a week, and I don't know, like, skating's hard. And it takes a very long time to learn a new skill for skating, and so I don't feel like there's always like new updates to talk about for skating. But I just signed up for my first ever adult sectionals competition for figure skating. They do have a skating competition or like section of the competition for adults specifically, which I think is great. And I've had my skating friends go to adult sectionals last year, and they had a really, really good time. They said it was really fun, and the atmosphere was just like fun and inviting, and you're still nervous about performing and kind of stressed about it, but that everyone was so nice and kind and so supportive. And so this year I wanted to go to adult sectionals, and so I signed up, and it will be my first ever competition where I travel to a different state to compete, and I am kind of nervous about it, if I'm going to be completely honest, but I think that now is a great time to do it. I don't want to put it off and maybe not have another opportunity to do it again. So yeah, I'm just very nervous, but also very excited. I hope it's basically like a good time skating with friends type of situation. I will be nervous, but that's just any kind of performing, I feel like. But I like it, and I like my program. I love my skating dress. I want to skate in it again, and I'm working on it. And so yeah, so that's kind of like my big update for my skating. As part of the adult sectionals, there's also this thing, I'm learning about all of this stuff, it's so confusing, but there is this thing called the Adult Competition Series. I think that's what it's called. And so there's these different challenges that you can also sign up to compete against people with. So I will have my one like free skate performance. So it's your typical routine. There's music and you skate for I think for my level, which is called pre-bronze free skates, I think my program is 1 minute 40 seconds, which sounds very short, but when you're skating the whole time, it's kind of tiring. So, and it feels long. Actually, sometimes it feels very short. You're what happened? Did I skate my program? But so I have one main program, which has your jumps and spins and other, footwork and stuff to make it look nice. And that's the only type of competition or program I've ever had as far as I've been skating and competing, which this is only my second year competing. So, but anyway, I have that program. And then for adult sectionals, I am also doing a thing called Spins Challenge and a Jumps Challenge. And those are just there's no music. And so for the Jumps Challenge, you are given, for each level, there's a certain set of jumps that you need to do. You get to try them twice, and they'll just take your better jump for each of them, and I guess give you a score. I think that's how it works. And so I just have to make just a small routine where I just do the jumps. It's only about the jumps. They're only scoring you on the jumps. And similarly for the spins, there are 2 spins that you need to do. You only get to try them once, though, so that's kind of terrifying, because sometimes spins for skating, if your entry into the spin is bad, your whole spin's going to be horrible. It sucks. But if your spin entry is good, your whole spin is fantastic. But it's really hard to recover from a bad entry for a spin. So I wish that we had you can try them twice, just like the jumps, but it is what it is. So Spins Challenge, 2 spins. I am planning on doing a scratch spin, which is a spin. It's called a upright spin, because you're basically standing upright. And a scratch spin is just your leg. I don't know if you watch ice skating, but you bring your free leg, because you're only spinning on one foot, but you bring your free leg across. And so you're spinning with your legs crossed like that. So that's a scratch spin. And then my second spin, which is actually my favorite spin to do, also because I'm not terrible at it, which is probably why I like it, is the sit spin, which is maybe kind of what you think it would be, because you sit, you're still spinning on one leg, but you sit as low as you can. Ideally, you want to be 90 degrees or lower on your sitting leg. So, and if you know what a pistol squat is, where you bring one leg, well, you can't see my legs, but if these are your legs, and you bring one leg out and you bend, oh my gosh, I can't do it. You bend one leg and you keep your other leg out. You stand up like pistol squats with one leg out. It's a spin. You do a spin, but you're spinning with one leg out and the other one bent, and your bent one should be 90 degrees or less bent. So anyway, I don't know if that was interesting at all, but yeah, that is my plan for adult sectionals, and very excited about it. It is in March. I am already thinking about what knitting projects to bring to this, because I might be too nervous to knit. But if I'm too nervous, I want to knit, I might just want a very basic, plain something to knit on. I was thinking that I am actually planning on knitting leg warmers for my coach, because I think she would like it. We've talked about it, and so she told me what color she would like, and size and length and all of that. And I haven't started yet, but I think that might be a good project to bring to that, because it's just a tube of knitting. I'll probably do a 2x2 rib or something, but because it will be very mindless, I think that would be a good project to bring. But that also means it'll be all the way in March, and she won't have these leg warmers until after that. So, but we'll see how I feel and what projects I end up working on just around that time to start planning. Because that's the most important, is what knitting projects I'm going to bring to my skating competition. But anyway, I think that's all I have for today. I thought I'd just give you an update on some of that. And yeah, feeling good, feeling ready to do some knitting and spinning for the rest of tonight. I hope you are all having a great day on whichever day you are watching this. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye!